kind of squeeze in a little bit. So I'll go really, really quick for you guys. We have 2 bills that had hearings this last week in state government, the Senate State Government Committee. That is Senate Bill 5067 and Senate Bill 5068. They both are 2 pieces of an attempt to fix what is perceived by some people in our communities, that there are people that are not having access to vote who should have access to vote. So one of them is the Voting Rights Act. The second one creates what's called district-based elections. I think in the interest of time, and since these are complicated bills, what I'm going to send you is the link to watch the actual hearing on these bills so that you can watch what people said for and against them. They are complicated, and there are people that are pro and people that are con on these bills. Fundamentally, the notion is that the people that are for it say, if you believe that in your area you were not afforded the right to vote, or you were not, your district wasn't set up in a way that you can have access to voting, that you should have a right to sue your local government and have them fix that. And the other piece requires, like we have in King County in Seattle area, district-based elections, so that you have your county council people representing you in a district, kind of like your legislators. But again, these are kind of complicated bills, so I can take a couple questions on them, but I think watching the hearing will be very helpful in determining what your opinion is on these 2 bills. So before I jump to 5110, are there any questions or initial thoughts on those 2 bills? Yeah, in the blue.
So for 5067, I was wondering why only one.
I couldn't quite hear that. Greg, can you repeat it for me?
Why there were no co-sponsors and only one prime sponsor?
Yeah, that's a good question. Sometimes legislators want to just get bills introduced quickly so that they have time to get them to have a hearing. I think in this instance, that's what Senator Milosha wanted to do. Senator Milosha is the chair of the State Government Committee. He's from Federal Way. So he introduced this bill very early. He introduced it on the 11th, which was the 3rd day of session. And I think that it had to do with him wanting to get it quickly. I can tell you in the hearing, there was quite a bit of support from a few of the legislators on the committee. So I don't think it was that he couldn't get co-sponsors. I think it's just he wanted to get it introduced quickly.
Okay.
Yep, right here.
This is actually about the bill, but how is everyone feeling about Donald Trump's inauguration today in the Capitol?
Nobody's really, I mean, we're all working, so nobody's really watching it. So I haven't heard much of anything. There's hearings going on and work here in Olympia, and it doesn't really have that much of a direct impact on what we do every day. So, yeah.
Back to the bill, I was wondering if 5067 and 5068, since they're kind of similar, would that be a case where they would end up kind of like combined, or are they going to stay separate?
Yeah, that's an extremely good question. And actually, I would include 5110 in that. So all 3 of those bills have a lot of different components to them. And there are various organizations that are for or against individual provisions in there. I believe what will happen is, and we can talk about 5110 as well, it has a hearing next week. So after the hearings on all 3 of the bills, what usually will happen is the chair will bring together all the various stakeholders who have different opinions and try to work out a compromise and see if there's something that everybody can agree on. And I think it's very likely that we'll see some of these things merged in together to create one bill, assuming they can come up with some compromise.
Okay, next, 5067, row 2.
I already answered this.
No, Randus, going across. Kennedy? Yeah.
Kind of building on that, what's some sections of the bill that you think that some people might be opposed to, that might be corrected, or that they might be less opposed to in the other bills?
Mhm. So there's pieces of all the bills, but the one that drew the most criticism on 5067, and you'll see this when you watch the hearing, is the fact that it gives people the right to sue, like say a county, say King County, if they feel like um, things haven't been operated correctly. There's already, and I'm going to send you another document that the staff did that compares the federal law versus the state law. And there's already a federal law that's the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that has jurisdiction here too. And what county said is, if you create another opportunity for people to sue, we already don't have enough money to do our operations now, and it's just going to be more expensive and potentially causes us more harm than it does good. So I think that's going to be a really important part of this conversation. I kind of need to switch to 5110 as well to answer that question, because for the Youth Voting Rights Act and the automatic voting rights issues, there are some people that are very concerned about automatic voter registration because you don't actually have to be a citizen to get a driver's license in the state of Washington. You don't have to be a United States citizen. So there are people that are very concerned that if you did automatic driver's license voter registration, you might end up inadvertently giving people the right to vote who actually don't have the right to vote in the state. Those are, I think, some of the things that are going to be part of this conversation that that people will look to try to fix. In the back.
So based on what you just said, did they, like, I was reading the 5110 bill, and do they just, like, say they're citizens, or do they, like, they check with their social security number or something to make sure that they're citizens? Like, how are they going to regulate that?
I think that right there, what you said is exactly the question that will be brought up, and people will probably look to changing the bill somehow to figure that out. So that's just kind of a remaining question. And I think some that have question marks about this bill will raise that issue. We will know on Tuesday because there's a hearing on this bill. And we'll be able to see a little bit where the opposition is to this particular proposal and what kind of suggestions they have to fixing it. So did you guys, as we left last week, I think you were leaning towards the position of supporting 5110. Is that still the case?
Yeah.
Okay, so the plan is I am planning to testify on your behalf on the hearing on this bill, which is next Wednesday at 8 a.m. So you could actually maybe see me testify live, but you'll be able to see it no matter what. So what I really need from you all there's two assignments here from me. One is watch the hearing on 5067 and 5068. And then following the hearing, I think you'll be better able to make an opinion on what you guys think of those bills. And so we need to circle back on that next week so that I know where you are in that. For 5110, what I'd like is some talking points for next Wednesday that I can use when I go up and testify, because I don't want to look stupid, because that would make you look stupid, right? So I need good talking points from you on what you want me to say about why this bill is important and why the legislature should pass it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, great. Are there any other questions about that, or what I'm going to be doing, or what we need to be doing, or where we are in the process? Greg, have I covered everything sufficiently? Oh, I forgot to tell you one thing. There's one. So there are a couple organizations. I'm going to send you the websites for them that I think you should take a look at that are really advancing, particularly the youth voter registration. One is called fairvote.org, and the other is One America. They are fairly engaged and active advocacy groups, and there's a lot of information on their websites about these particular issues. And there's other organizations involved, but these guys testified on that bill last Tuesday. So.
Okay. Yeah, we had some people, we looked up Win-Win Network.
Oh, good.
Some people have questions, comments about Win-Win Network.
Any questions about it?
Hey, Jennifer, Ben, Hudson, Owen. Win-Win Network. And then we had some people looked up another one, Veronica, Isabel, Martin, Elsa. Yeah, can you ask a little bit about that one or make a comment about that?
No, I think I like that. You got it.
What was the name of it? Tell Vicky.
The Transformative Vote Justice Coalition.
Yep.
I looked up the Win-Win Network, and I was just wondering. So I think I'm sure they support the bill, but is there any like do they support it financially, or just like supporting it by getting the word out about it and like raising awareness?
Yeah, so these organizations at this right now will be, I mean, there's no way to really financially actually support a bill, but what they are doing financially with the resources that people donate to those different organizations is they hire a person like me, a lobbyist, to go work the bill here in Olympia. They also do a lot of public outreach, like you probably saw. You know, they might take some TV ads out at some point. They might do Facebook and digital and Google groups and that kind of stuff to get the word out about their bill. So they're mostly trying to get people engaged and to call their legislators and talk to them about it.
Other questions, people?
So how do non-citizens, how are they able to get like a driver's license?
Well, because this is getting into complex immigration laws, but people are here that are not citizens. People that are working on citizenship, or people are here who are married to some, or they are living with and they have a visa because they're working at a particular company, or there's lots of reasons that somebody who's a non-citizen could be here, but they still, in order to drive, have to have a driver's license. And so there are a variety of reasons, and I can get, let me put down this to see if I can get you a list of people that are here legally as non-citizens who might need a driver's license.
And then I have another question.
Yeah.
If someone gets their license at age 18, they would just if they're older than 16 or 17, they would just they would just automatically register.
Yeah, that's what these organizations want. Essentially, they want whenever somebody goes in to renew their license, starting at age 16, that would automatically register you.
Oh, okay.
That's what they want. I'm not sure it's all in the bill yet, but that's what they want.
Okay.
These are great questions, you guys. Good job. Okay, I have to get ready to run to my 10 o'clock meeting. So send me some talking points, and I'll send you the link to the hearing that was this week, and then you can watch me testify this week, and then we'll connect and figure out the next steps.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vicki.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Yep, good weekend. Bye.
You too.